As a vet, I rely on you, the pet parent, to give me as much information as possible to be able to help get your pet better if they're unwell and to help optimize their health so that they don't get sick in the first place. But if you're not giving me all the information that I need, then really you're asking me to do my job with my hands tied behind my back. And this is only going to end up in reduced care and increased vet bills. So make sure you think about these 10 tips for getting the best out of your vet next time you take them to the vet clinic. And the first thing is to actually be present. Now, I know this can be very difficult, especially with the pandemic, but if it's all possible, make sure you are the one taking your pet to the vet, even if that means you're sitting in your car, waiting by the phone to have that conversation with your vet while your dog or cat is actually being examined. It's incredibly difficult to tell a friend, a family member, someone who's not involved in the day-to-day care of your pet exactly what's going on so that they can answer all of the other questions that your vet is likely to have. Equally, it's really tough for that person to also relay everything that the vet said. So a lot of this information gets lost in translation and really the care is suboptimal. With that in mind, it's also important to be on time. Now, I know what you're going to say, Dr. Alex, my vet is always running late. The queues in the waiting room are huge. That may well be the case. The chances are, though, is that that very first person that they saw in the morning was 10 minutes late to a 15-minute appointment, and that just sets up the whole day to run behind. If your vet does run late on a regular basis, then just give the clinic a call ahead of time, 20 minutes, half an hour before your appointment, to ask how they're running, so that if they are running 40 minutes late, I hope they're not, but if they are, then you can just turn up that little bit later so that your pet doesn't have to wait in that stressful waiting room for too long. To make best use of the time that you've got, make sure that you remember all the history of what your pet has been going through, whether they're eating, drinking, vomiting, diarrhea, what their activities levels are like, what's their breathing like. All of those really small details are incredibly important for me to be able to piece the jigsaw puzzle pieces together to try and get a full picture of everything that's going on with your pet. So write those details down in a book ahead of time, because when the pressure's on and the vet's asking you questions, it's very easy to forget some of the key details that may be the very specific clue needed to solve the problem. The other thing that you can do is actually take videos or take pictures of your pets, because when their adrenaline levels are high, they're not going to move or limp in the same way that they were at home. If they've got a cough or they're having seizures, then they're not going to do those things in the vet clinic. So having that extra evidence to show your vet can really make a huge difference. After all, a picture really does paint 1,000 words. And recording details at the vet clinic is important too. So it's very easy to forget everything that your vet said. After all, we are known when we go to the doctor ourselves that we only remember about 30 to 50% of the information told to us. And actually what we remember, a lot of that is actually wrong. And it's the same when you go to the vet clinic. So write any details down, write specific instructions down that your vet might give you. Equally, if you've got questions, ask them. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to try and make everything as clear as possible. Sometimes we're trying to explain really quite complex and difficult situations and difficult procedures or diagnoses. And sometimes the way I phrase things is not the best way to help you understand. So I need to know if you've got any questions so that I can best help you understand what's going on with your dog or cat so that you can optimize their health and make them better as quickly as possible. And because this communication is so important, it's important that you also trust your vet. So don't chop and change vets depending on who's got the cheapest price of vaccination or, who's closest to you. Try and find a vet who practices in a way that you agree with, you share the same treatment philosophies, you learn to understand each other, to know what each other wants and how each of you work and communicates over a number of years. And this is a relationship that is incredibly important for your pets. All that said, as a vet, I rely heavily on my other team members, so my nurses, my reception staff, and I'd encourage you to really use the whole team. So some concerns and questions that you have may very well be able to be answered by a receptionist or by a nurse or by a veterinary technician. And in actual fact, some situations, they're going to be the best people to ask for advice. So again, don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to ask different members of staff. And then one important consideration when it comes to actually booking an appointment with your vet is if they're unwell, if you notice they're unwell in the morning, then book an appointment for your vet that morning. And if possible, take them to see them that morning. The reason is that if they need any other tests, investigations, or procedures, taking them to the vet clinic at 5 o'clock at night really is not going to be beneficial to them if they've had to wait all day, because your vet is going to be coming to the end of their day's work, and it's likely that unless those procedures or investigations are life-threatening or life-saving, they're going to be delayed until the following day. So your pet, at the very least, is going to be feeling unwell for that little bit longer than they potentially need to. Equally, if you notice that they're unwell at lunchtime, don't leave it till the following morning. Give your vet a call, book them in, and get them seen as soon as possible. And then the other difference that you can make to really make your vet's life a lot easier at the vet clinic, but also make your pet even enjoy their trips to the vet, is to start instigating low stress techniques to get your pet used to traveling in the car, your cat used to going in the crate. Get them enjoying actually being at the vet clinic. Now that might sound far-fetched, but I discuss a lot of these techniques in the other video linked on screen, and this can be crucial to helping your vet examine your pet, helping your pet enjoy their vet visits, improving their health, getting them better faster, and costing you less money.